Hey, Burger Bunch. So recently a couple things happened. One, Dan just did a video where he talked about a little bit about last year, but mostly about our goals for the upcoming year. The other thing that recently just happened was we had our annual financial review with all the regional managers and the area managers. And so I told them in that meeting that I wanted to go over the results of 2018 with each and every one of you. So it's one thing for you to hear about the results, the financial performance of our company in an overview, but I want to make it more personal today. I want to tell you how you did at each one of your teams. Some of the things we're going to talk about doesn't apply to everyone because we have to have the previous year's history, and obviously we don't at every community. But I wanted to go over these with you, and I hope that what you'll do is you'll sit down together as a team in your huddles and you'll watch this video together so that you can see how you did as a team and how you compared to our company. So what I want to do is I want to start with the overview that Dan talked about. So I want to give you really just kind of a high-end overview of how we performed as a company in 2018. So as a company, our economic occupancy was 91.05. Now that's up from 2017 when it was just 88.6. So as you know, our benchmark is 90%, and as a company we did that and we raised our economic occupancy by about 2.5 percentage points year over year, which is outstanding. We grew our revenue, Dan mentioned this in his video, by 25.86%. And again, that's a combination of more units because of additional properties, renovations, of course, drive up our revenue, but also higher occupancy, less vacancy loss, fewer marketing concessions, and those types of things. So that's an amazing number of 25.86%. I compared our operating expenses for the year to our budget, and we did go over budget, not by a lot, 1.44%. So we're pretty close there. And then we grew our NOI by 34.68% as a company. And then finally, on an overview, our profit margin for 2018 was 56.5% compared to 52.8% from the previous year. So really, you did a great job of growing that. So let's look at our economic occupancy by community. So we had 35 communities that had an income statement last year. And so if you're below the red line, you did not achieve our benchmark of economic occupancy of 90%. Everyone above did. And so you can see we had 24 that did, 11 that did not. And then I put them in order from highest economic occupancy for the year to lowest. So real quick, here's your list. At the highest was Highwoods, followed by Madison Court, followed by Rolling Hills, the Dorchester, Toft Trees, Westbury, Lakeview, Audubon Point, Village Square, Penwood, Stonegate Woods, Walton Heights, Bradfield Court, Chestnut Run, Norris Hills, Viro Village, Willowdale Crossing, Goshen Terrace, Greenview, Miller's Crossing, Green-Sea Towers, Goshen Manor, Willowbrook, and the Athens, all at over 90% for the year. 98.44, of course, being the high mark with Highwoods. And then those of you that did not hit the benchmark, Audubon Manor was so close at 89.89, followed by Heather Glen, Green Tree Building, Highland Manor, Royersford Gardens, Lionsgate, Dublin Village, Creekside South, Creekside North, Ribbon Place, and Commons of Mansfield. Now folks, remember, in order to have an economic occupancy of 90% or higher, you need to have a physical occupancy of 90% or higher. And these properties down at the bottom, they're struggling currently with their occupancy, and they did last year as well. And so that certainly drives it down. Get very concerned when you see numbers as low as some of these at the bottom, because at that point, the concern is that you're not generating enough revenue to even pay all the bills at the property. So we certainly have some work to do here at the bottom, and everybody understands what our challenges are. But 24 out of 35, so congratulations all of you that did that. Let's move over to our revenue. So one of the things that we measure as a company is, are you growing your revenue year over year? And so we have 26 properties to compare there. And so of the 26, 20 of you grew your revenue over the previous year to the benchmark of to a goal of 3% or higher. So we actually had 23 of the 26 that grew your revenue, but 20 of you grew it by the goal of 3% or higher. And those 20 starting all the way at the top at 35.52%. Lakeview, followed by Norris Hills, Greenview, Willowbrook, Willowdale Crossing, Village Square, Stonegate Woods, Miller's Crossing, Regency Towers, Ribbon Place, Audubon Point, Walton Heights, Chestnut Run, Toft Trees, Audubon Manor, High Woods, Heather Glen, Green Tree Building, Penwood, and Goshen Terrace all grew by 3% or higher. And you can see some of these are really high numbers, double digits, with Village Square being at the bottom of that list with 11.61%. Goshen Manor grew their revenue, but not by 3%. Viro Village and Highland Manor also had revenue growth, but did not hit the 3%. And then we had 3 properties in our company that didn't grow the revenue, actually were worse than they were the year before. That's pretty outstanding that only 3 out of 26, Royersford Gardens, Lionsgate, and Commons at Mansfield. So then that leads to NOI. And again, we measure your NOI not only against the budget, but also are you growing your NOI over the previous year? So the same 26 properties and the same number of properties hit that 3% goal or higher, but again, 23 out of 26 grew their NOI, only 3 did not. And so Lakeview also led in that. Now, I will say, and this is not to take away from the great accomplishments, because they're number 1 in the power rankings 2 months in a row, but we added 36 units there, and that certainly has helped them. This year, we're going to really be comparing apples to apples with Lakeview. I know they're going to have another great year. It's an outstanding team there with Derek and Les and Jennifer. But Lakeview is number 1 at 70% growth in NOI, followed by Ribbon Place, Willowbrook, Stonegate Woods, Greenview, Norris Hills, Willowdale Crossing, Village Square, Chestnut Run, Miller's Crossing, Highland Manor, Penwood, Audubon Manor, Audubon Point, Regency Towers, Toft Trees, Walton Heights, Goshen Terrace, High Woods, and Green Tree Building, all at above 3%. And then Heather Glen grew their NOI, but by less than 3%. Same with Viro Village and Royersford Gardens. And then 3 properties failed to grow their NOI, and that's Goshen Manor, Lionsgate, and Commons at Mansfield. So in the meeting, what we did with the regionals is we awarded stars based on whether or not you grew your revenue, grew your NOI, grew your profit margin, and grew your economic occupancy over the previous year. And so this was the chart that we did with the regional managers. So there's the potential for 96 stars, and we were awarded 75 out of 96. So we're only missing 21 stars on this chart. Only 2 properties failed to earn any stars, Commons at Mansfield and Lionsgate. A lot of 4-star communities on there, as you can see. And I'm going to take you over to one more thing that we measured, and that is our operating expenses to our budget. Now, I will say that although we failed to come in under budget for the year, 1.44%, I've always said that you should be within 5% of your budget, either better than your budget or worse than your budget. If you're more than 5%, that's an indication of one of 2 things, or maybe both: a poorly written budget or a poorly performing asset. And so we had most of our properties were within 5% of their operating expenses. In fact, only a handful were outside of that 5%. But these properties actually did better than their budget. Now, you're going to notice a trend with the first 5. They're all third-party properties that we took over midway through 2018. We really just adopted their budget, added some items that we knew were going to be our expenses. We didn't really write these budgets, and you'll see that they were way off. So Madison Court, Rolling Hills, Bradford Court, Westbury, and Dorchester were all really better than their budget. And then these are the budgets that we wrote. So Highland Manor, Commons at Mansfield, Penwood, Ribbon Place, Lakeview, High Woods, Village Square, Goshen Terrace, and Viro Village all came in under budget for the year on your operating expenses. So congratulations to you. So that's a total of 14, and then 21 actually went over budget. And here's the 21. I'm not going to take the time to read them, but if I didn't read your name up, your community's name up here, then obviously you know that you came in over budget on your expenses. But again, we come all the way down to Norris Hills before we get outside of that 5% threshold. And so we had some catastrophic things going on in some of these properties. We know it. I'd like to make a joke about Wayne. Some of these are new assets, and Wayne does the underwriting. And so I like to joke and say that the Athens, Creekside North, Creekside South, and Dublin Village are all operating under Wayne budgets, and Wayne's budgets, well, they're a little challenging. So that's the only criticism I'm going to give of Wayne, because well, he'll probably beat me up if I take it any further. And then finally, we talked about growing our profit margin from almost 53% to 56.5% year over year. And so our goal is 50% or better. And so we grew it by 3.5%. And I'd like to see by 2020 our profit margin as a company to be 60%. And if we do 3.5 this year and 3.5 in 2020, we'll actually finish 2020 over 60%. And so Highwoods came in number one at almost 73% profit margin. So I'm optimistic about Woodland Hills because our new properties have low expenses, high rents. That makes for a really good profit margin. But here are the 18 properties that hit the 50% or better. Highwoods, Toft Trees, Goshen Terrace, Audubon Point, the Athens, Green Tree Building, Village Square, Audubon Manor, Goshen Manor, Votero Village, Heather Glen, Willowdale Crossing, Penwood, Miller's Crossing, Walton Heights, the Dorchester, Westbury, and Bradfield Court. And then from here down, these communities came in with a profit margin of under 50%. Stonegate Woods, 49.99%. One of the jokes with the regional team is I don't round up. They could make the argument that that's 50%, but it's not. It's 49.99. But Stonegate Woods, Madison Court, Greenview, Willowbrook, Lakeview, Royersford Gardens, Highland Manor, Regency Towers, Norris Hills, Chestnut Run, Lionsgate, Dublin Village, Rolling Hill, Creekside North, Creekside South, Ribbon Place, and Commons of Mansfield. You notice their number is negative. They had a negative NOI number. So that's why they have a negative profit margin number. So 18 above, 17 below, so more than half of our properties. If we grow by 3.5% again this year, you add 3.5% to all of these guys, and that would put everyone from Heather Glen above 60% or better in 2019. It would take from about Highland Manor up would be above 50%. So it'd be a really nice improvement, and if we can do that again this year, then again, I think we're going to see 60% by 2020. Overall, it's an outstanding year. But these financial numbers are never the goal at Berger Rental Communities. These financial numbers are the result of the other things that are our goals. Deliver great customer service, care for one another, be respectful, go to work every day and live the fundamentals, do your best. And if you do those things, then these are the numbers, the results that we're going to see. So I just thought it'd be good for you to actually see a video where we took the results of 2018 and made it more personal, because all of these results are personal. It's individuals like every one of you going to work every single day, doing your best, caring about the results, caring about the performance, caring about the customers, and caring about your teammates. And if we continue to do that and continue to add great people to our company, then we're just going to continue to see growth in our results. And so I hope you enjoyed this information. I hope it's helpful. And if you did, well, I'll do it again next year. But this is certainly not something I'm going to do on a regular basis. As you can imagine, it took a lot of time to put all this together. But I hope it was helpful, beneficial, and informative. Thank you again for everything that you do. See you next time.